So I've got a question for Anthony. You've done so many different things on CV. You worked on Falls War, you worked on a lot of kind of adult dramas and also sort of children's. Do you enjoy the variety?
Keeps me alive, keeps me going. Yeah, definitely. It's I always say if I'm writing a huge novel, to sort of stop it and go into TV is a sort of relaxation. It just keeps me alert and active, and I'm very lucky that I'm one of the writers who is able to sort of bounce around between different genres.
Thank you.
Okay, so Otto, starting with you. Obviously, this is an iconic character that means so much to so many people. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about, for you, who Alex is and how this version of the character compares to maybe what fans of the books already have in their mind and people who are just discovering them for the first time.
Sure, so we've aged Alex up a little bit, and so what you're watching is the journey of a boy to becoming a man, essentially. What's different from the books is that in the books, I think Alex's relationship with his uncle is very, very close. And our relationship in the series is it's a more complicated journey because Ian has trained Alex to be this super spy, but he doesn't know. But Alex is that's at the expense of kind of paternal love. So Alex, when we meet Alex, he's a character who doesn't particularly he's complicated. He's not the perfect spy. He's not the perfect teenager. He's not the perfect person. But he's learning throughout the series to become those. To like I said, from a boy to a man. And I think that journey is something that's new that the fans will hopefully welcome because I think it's a more complicated and interesting journey to play out on screen.
Question for Guy. As Anthony said in the panel, TV is where everything is going to at the moment. So obviously we're bringing Alex Rider to the smaller screen. What were your inspirations when adapting the novels from some of the recent sort of TV shows like Homeland or something like that? Were there any sort of particular inspirations that helped you with the scripts?
I'm going to be really honest and say no, I didn't go looking for inspirations on the screen for this. I begin this journey very much in the world of the novel, so it's great for me. I get to read a book and be excited by the story and be excited by the people and the characters. And so I was very immersed in that, and I tried fairly consciously not to look outside it too much. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I'm a big Stranger Things fan. I'm a big fan of quite a lot of good stuff that's on at the moment, so I suppose there's that awareness that we can do good drama now that crosses some boundaries, is accessible to younger viewers, but is also proper adult viewing that someone like me would sit on the sofa and watch. And that's very heartening because that's what this show is all about, I think.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to jump on what you said about crossing boundaries. So obviously Alex Rider, was it 10, 15 years ago? 2000, right? So obviously it's crossing boundaries, especially what's going on in the world, technology-wise, environmental-wise, politically-wise, and so much stuff going on. How will Alex Rider impact that world, and how will the current world impact Alex Rider's story?
We were very struck by the fact that while we were filming this and talking about, is it really genuinely credible that MI6 would co-opt a teenager and force him to work for them? The story broke in the press of underage children being used by the police as informers within drug gangs. And we just thought, no, actually, we're on point here. This is what's happening. And the urge to get the series grounded, to make it feel gritty and relevant, is really important because, okay, there are adventure stories here. Stuff happens that's quite heightened, that's quite kind of big and epic. And I think that for the audience to buy into that, you have to start from a place where the characters are grounded and where they're real. And so watching Alex kind of become dropped down the rabbit hole of the world of spies and spycraft becomes kind of, I hope, something that we believe instead of something that just is presented.
Otto, I think obviously in terms of that process of becoming Alex Rider, he's recruited because he has this amazing, extraordinary set of skills. Can you tell us a little bit about your training and preparation, not just for the emotional side of the character, but particularly for all the daring physical deeds you're doing?
Of course, yeah. So I worked with a personal trainer for about 2 months. I picked up climbing, which became a love of mine now, and I go pretty regularly because I felt I needed to basically. It's good for choreography. It's good for body weight and just generally being able to scale. And I had to scale a building in the show. So there was little things that I did. I mean, I'm quite athletic anyway. I go running, I swim. Like I said, I go climbing and stuff. So I just did all of those things, but way more intensely. It's hard as well because when you're shooting from, you're picked up at 5:30 in the morning, you get home at 8 in the evening. So you don't really have time to do that kind of exercise. But the great thing was, playing Alex, I'm doing action every day. So I felt fit and I felt like I was becoming a better spy do you know what I mean? Like I was more equipped to do things by the end of shooting the series than I was at the beginning. And I think that's quite cool because you watch Alex get better and you watch me get better.
And so for people that grew up reading the Alex Rider books and then almost sort of grew past the age where like Alex stays sort of 15 years old, but now people are coming in their 20s and stuff, how do you I feel like it's a good fit now that he's been brought up to sort of 16 years old for the TV programme too with that older feel. How do you feel about your character being boosted beyond the age of his character in the stories for TV?
I was completely cool about that. I mean, I think, as I said downstairs, I couldn't have been happy with the choice of Otto to play the part. There were obviously good technical reasons for having somebody who was not under the age of 16. I think what they've done really, really well in this show is to create a character whose age is not necessarily defined. As I said, he is a teenager without being too precise about how old he actually is. So there are certain things he doesn't do, like, for example, he never drives a car in the show, which would then somehow separate him from the character I created. He remains completely in the same field as that character. The age is just a little bit nudged forward. And of course, the whole show is so much darker as well and so much more serious than the book itself and the source material. I think you just buy the fact that he's a little bit older than he was in my original work.
I'm just wondering, are there any challenges thrown up? Because obviously you made the show, but you haven't quite found a home for it yet. Are there any particular challenges for yourselves as programme makers when you're making a show? Obviously, I'm sure it will obviously end up somewhere, but are there any particular challenges shooting something that doesn't have a home as yet?
Well, Guy will probably be able to give a better answer than me on that, but I will say this, that one of the reasons why I was very, very happy to work with and to give the option or sell the option to Sony was that they had such enormous faith in this book and in this project, but they were willing to, gamble all the production costs and to make the show without having an actual platform, but in full confidence someone would be found.
What is it? It is that, really. Sony have backed this all the way. It's their first television venture and they've fully funded it. So it shows tremendous confidence in the stories and in us. And now we're just at the start of the point of taking it out and showing it to people. The response we're getting at the moment is really exciting. So we're hopeful and feeling very positive, actually.
Thank you.
Can I say something about that as well? Just being part of it and being there every day creating what's on the page, we felt as if there was a lot of freedom because we didn't have to stick to a template of what maybe a streaming service or someone had for the show. Like this, they would have said it has to be this, and this. And we probably had those things, but we felt very free. I think we didn't know what it was going to be until
more liberating. It
was more liberating. And we were finding it as we were making it, which I think is a great creative place to be.
No notes from people you've never met.
Yeah, question for Guy and for the cast as well. You base obviously your work on Anthony when you're writing the script. How much of your own did you put in it, and how much influence got the cast on the works?
It's based very closely on the story of the book. So the story of the book becomes the spine on which the series hangs. But there are 8 hours to fill, and the book is not 8 hours long. So there's plenty of room also to get me excited and to allow me to expand things. We talked all of that through, of course, because nothing that I've done hasn't passed by Anthony at some point. I think probably the biggest change that I made was introducing an entirely new character in the form of Kyra, who is a girl and who's Alex's age and who acts as a kind of counterbalance. There's a slight sense in the books that Alex acts on his own fairly exclusively, but there may be occasional girlfriends along the way. And I was very keen that we had a character that we could identify with who's female as well, but who's his age. We've got great female casting elsewhere in the show, of course. So in that sense, that area was covered, the older characters were covered. I wanted somebody who was a teenager as well.
Guy, just a follow up on that.
Sorry, that same question is for cast.
Yeah, for cast as well.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, how much input did you guys had on the script?
On the script, I mean, I let my lines.
And I appreciate that.
We was just saying actually in an earlier interview, it was very collaborative, and there are always moments naturally in majority of jobs that you do where you get on set and because of location or because of something, that line might not work, or we're all trying to sort of figure it out. And Guy was brilliant at letting us be flexible with that. We're a brand new cast, and so we was being able to sort of collaborate with each other was brilliant. Everybody was up for it, and that's kind of the dream job in anything, because collaborating means you're going to create something that's brand new, that's not on the script, but only heightens it really. So that for me, from when I was on set, was pretty much every day. We was always collaborating, not always just changing lines, but just feeling the space. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of adventure, and especially when you're doing scenes with Otto, there's something going on. So they were particularly fun.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the previous question. With these characters that are so well loved and well known, has kind of like the fan reaction that these characters have received over the past few years in any way influenced how you've written them for the TV series?
Gosh, I'm not. I think probably no. That's not the place I wanted to go to. I don't think that one should, as it were, write to a reaction that you're hoping that you'll get. You have to write from the character and who you believe the character to be. And then if you're lucky, people love that. But there's a danger of feeling like you're kind of focus grouping your own work as you go. The only thing that does happen is that you sometimes see chemistry from your actors on screen as the rushes start coming in and thinking, I should be using this person more, I should be using this storyline more. And this is something that we have all felt, and we're kind of looking at sort of our thoughts on season 2 and beyond, and seeing, well, look, that person's really worth putting more firmly front and centre. That'll keep you all on your toes, I hope. Who is this person?
Thank you.
No, it is just that. It's just getting that sense from the cast of how their characters are building. It's wonderful.
You were saying downstairs that obviously there's 14 books in the series, and the time span that the books cover is quite a lot shorter than real life. If you're lucky enough to go for 14 seasons, that's going to put you at a sort of a late 20s, early 30s potentially age of playing the same character. Is there any kind of consideration as to what might happen as Alex as a character kind of grows up, because obviously the actor is going to grow up? Of course.
In my head, I'm not looking 14 series. I am looking like 2 or 3 series ahead, simply to try and get my head around what we would do with season 2, because I need to know what the roadmap is beyond that in order to make sure that what I'm planning in season 2 works off the page of Anthony's books and also through our own sort of serial arcs. I mean, I don't know. We were chatting about this in the car, weren't we? And in my head, I don't see any problem with Alex, with imagining Alex Rider at uni. Yeah, please. But let's see how we go.
It'll be a nice problem to have.
Absolutely.
Season 9, season 10. But it could go one of 2 ways. I mean, we could talk about Alex's university, post-university, whatever, and go with him, or hope that Otto stays young. It's the other way of looking at it.
Get like a campaign with a really good,
You can get that. The first season has a plastic surgery
Guys, we've just got 5 more minutes. Is there any cast questions specifically?
Yes. What is it like to work with Adekoluejo, and do you have any memorable moments with him on the set? Yeah. Thank you.
I loved working with Haluk. He's a fantastic actor and has the most incredible voice. and he's just a joy to be around as a person. You know, we showed a clip in the screening just earlier where Stellenbosch slaps me in the face, and he looks at me very intensely behind a desk and says, "Why do you think you're here, Alex?" And he's the perfect villain for this show.
And you're all brilliant at your characters already, we've seen that. But if you could swap character roles for one day with someone in the cast, who would you possibly like to swap with or have a go at?
Ooh.
Sorry, put you on the spot.
That's really nice.
I like Kyra or James. I'd love to say Tom, but
I was
I'm
gonna
not a
say
Tom.
Tom.
I mean, like Brennock's so good at it, you wouldn't want anyone else to play Tom.
But he's a fun character.
He's a fun character, yeah.
I think I wouldn't be able to play it, but
I'm sure you do a great job.
In a dream world, I'd probably play Tom, yeah.
I think I play Stellenbosch. I like her. Yeah.
I think
you couldn't be so horrible, could you?
Oh, no. I'd love that.
She's a great character.
And would you like to play a character?
I'd want to be Alex, of course.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask Anthony, then the cast and everyone else. So obviously you've written the character a certain way, but you've got your actors here and your writers here. When you're writing now, are you going to add some of their individual personalities to how you write the character a bit, and vice versa? Will you guys bring some of your personality into the characters and so forth? And that going to affect your writing?
Start down that.
Yeah.
100% yes. I mean, the truth is that now whenever I write Jack, I've just finished a new novel, Nightshade, and every time Jack spoke, I was listening to Ronke's voice, and it's just how it works. And Tom, who is a tiny character in the book, is so wonderfully played by Brenock that now I'm finding him a bigger and bigger character, and it's him. And again, Otto, and for that matter, everybody at this table, it's the same thing. Mrs. Jones and Blunt, they've got a completely new life in my head now, which I think is because I've been doing it for 20 years and stuff, but this one show has really changed everything in my head, which is I think a tribute to the talents of the performers who managed to get into it.
Yeah, I always think you have to bring yourself to the characters that you play, and they also bring themselves to you. So it's like this proper merging of two souls. I love Jack. She's always in my head as well, actually, chatting away in her little American accent.
Mrs. Jones is quite stern. I can be when I want to be, when I need to be. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to take on some of her spy skills. That'd be great, because I'm not very good at that. So yeah.
I totally forgot. Sorry, what was the
So
question?
what would you bring?
Basically, what would you bring to the character?
Maybe I
part of your
answered it wrong.
personality.
I think I answered it wrong too.
No.
You gave me some
It's a flexible question of him. So
When I approached playing Alex with Andres Prochaska, who directed the first 4 episodes and then sort of helmed the series, we were very clear at the beginning. We wanted to stay true to the key qualities of Alex, but wanted to create our own character. And the hope is that the fans will welcome our interpretation of him. We wanted to keep to that sort of the set. He's resilient, he's loyal, he's muddling through, and he's a relatable character, but he's a real person in a way. Hopefully what you see is a real person on screen, and dealing with all these things and thrown into these real situations. So I didn't stick to the books in that way. I tried to create using those source materials.
Last question.
Fantastic. If there are no further questions, I think you got to take the cast off. So thank you very much.
Thank you.